Hi everyone, welcome to our first edition of Teen Yoga. If you're watching, I'm thankful that you can join me for the first ever edition of this class. This particular practice is designed for teenagers, but honestly, all ages it's good for. Any amount of yoga is better than no yoga, is something that I would always say. With our class today, we're going to be doing a couple of things. We're going to be doing what's called a Taoist yoga practice. We're going to do a bit of strengthening, a bit of stretching, merge in a little bit of meditation with it. So it's going to be a nice broad class for us to work with today. A few things that I would recommend you grab before we get started. If you have some yoga blocks, you might find out there's some good opportunities to use them. Every now and then we'll have them help us with balancing postures. Sometimes we'll just use them as cushions, make some poses a little bit more comfortable, especially for the stretching portion of it. So if you have a yoga block or two, go ahead and grab it. If you don't have a yoga block handy, a great substitute for that is just a pillow. If you have a pillow, again, by all means, go ahead and grab that, maybe a blanket. I don't have one with me, but if you happen to have a hand towel, those are excellent props as well. Again, especially for the stretching portion of it, you might find out that you need something to give you a little bit of leverage. Some people happen to have yoga straps nearby. If you happen to have one, grab one too. Very rarely do I see people have Pilates rings, but if you have one, those are great props as well to use for leverage. One reason why I would recommend a hand towel, aside from leverage, you can also use that as cushion. For a lot of people, laying down on their back can be really uncomfortable, especially for the neck. So if you have a little towel that you can roll up, place it right under that neck, make things a little bit more bearable. Although if you're fine without it, then just disregard what I'm saying. So we'll start our practice off in a comfortable position. If you'd like to, you can lay down on your yoga mat. You can just lay on the floor. If you have carpet, right, don't worry about having a yoga mat. You probably don't need it. Some people like to sit upright as if they're doing meditation. Just wherever you are most comfortable, go there and then close your eyes. Nothing to see at this point, just more to feel and pay attention to. And I want you to focus on your breath. Breathing low in your belly, low in your diaphragm. This is something that we're going to emphasize a lot of during the practice. Breathing into it. We'll be using our breath to link it with movement. We'll inhale, move here, exhale, move here, etc., etc. So we want to stay conscious of our breath. And this is something we'll be doing not only in this practice, but for the remainder of this series. We have 4 teen yoga classes that we're going to be doing. And we want to focus on it throughout every class. But again, just becoming aware of it right now is the key. And if you ever want to double check if you're breathing low in your belly, place a hand on your stomach. Just put it right below your belly button. You'll feel the stomach expand when you take an inhale. It's going to contract when you take an exhale. And that's belly breathing. It's the breathing technique that I recommend. Especially for now, it's going to help center you into your body, into your mind, and into what you're doing for the next hour. What we're doing today, like I mentioned, it's a teen yoga practice, but the practice itself is called Taoist yoga. And Taoist yoga is based off of the philosophy of yin and yang. You might have heard it called yin and yang before, but essentially it is based off of opposites. Opposites exist all over the universe. We've got hot and cold, up and down, left and right, fast and slow, etc., etc. This list literally goes on forever. But what we're going to focus on today, the opposites we're paying attention to for the physical body, is strengthening and stretching. The first half will be the strengthening portion. This is the yang or yang part of the practice. It depends on the culture. Let's not get too deep into that. But the strengthening portion, this is where we link our breath with movement. I'll command inhale, move here, exhale, move here, etc., etc. And if you find yourself struggling in the practice, it's going to start with your breath. You'll lose control of it. Maybe I'm commanding an inhale and you're barely breathing. That is the moment in your practice where you need to take a break. You sit down, catch back up with your breath. When you feel like you've caught back up with it, then join me back in the practice. But I would rather you have more control over your breath and movement versus just going through the motions. So please keep that in mind when we're doing this practice. When we feel like we've had enough of the strengthening portion, we'll transition into stretching. We'll hold a couple of poses for a while. We'll probably do about 5 poses, maybe 6 poses. Some very gentle stretches to help stretch out some of that muscular tension we create through strengthening. And then once we're done with our stretching portion of the practice, that's when we'll sit and we'll meditate. We'll probably do this for about 5 to 10 minutes. I'll give you a short technique to practice, something that's going to help with your daily awareness. You know, something that I would recommend you practice every day, this particular meditation technique. But for now, again, just keep those eyes closed and settle in. Go ahead and take a few deep breaths, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And we're going to start our practice off loosening up our hips and our spine. You can go ahead and take go ahead and lay down. If you're already there, you're already where I want you. But I want you to bring your knees up to your chest. Just cradle your legs. You're going to rock up and down on your spine, side to side. Crack your back a little bit if you can. You can always make circles with this as well. Really, it's just you using your intuition here. There's no right or wrong way to move yourself around. It's like yawning and stretching. You can't really teach someone how to yawn and stretch. You just kind of do that, right? That's an intuitive thing. You stretch to where you need to. And actually, if that triggers a quick yawn and stretch, by all means, go for it. Sometimes it does. If you yawn during this video, it's not uncommon because it is contagious. And just a little fun fact for you, it's actually contagious between interspecies. So if you see like your cat or your dog yawn, chances are you're probably going to yawn, and vice versa. And when you're ready, you again, no rush. You can go ahead and come to your hands and knees. And with hands and knees, we're doing what's called cat and cow poses. I've heard them called cat and dog poses. Every studio has a different name for them, but it's essentially just forward bends and back bends. Here's where we start to link our breath with movement. So when you're on your hands and knees, on your exhale, you're going to round your spine forward and look down. Then you're going to inhale, lower the stomach down, arc that spine and look up. Exhale, round forward, look down. Inhale for the back bend, look up. Exhale, forward bend, look down. Inhale, back bend, look up. Exhale, forward bend, look down. Inhale, back bend, look up. One more time each way. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, back bend, look up. And then let's go ahead and pop ourselves up into a downward dog. You're going to have hands at the top of your mats in front of you, feet at the bottom. While you're in a down dog, you can always walk your dog. That just means stretching your calves, alternating the heels, one at a time here. Again, it's nothing crazy. You're just trying to loosen yourself up before you get into anything too deep. Now, I remember when I was younger, especially when I was a teen, I used to take stretching for granted. Right? I used to think, that's for the birds, right? You don't need to stretch. You're just loose and ready to go. That is actually not true. The more you age, you're going to find out, it's actually really important to warm up before you get into anything too dynamic. You don't want to pull anything, right? Sometimes I see people like roll their feet up, right? Come back. Again, using your intuition here. Every now and then I'll see a student do something I've never thought of before, and I'll think about it and like, that's actually a really good idea. And then I steal it and I teach it to other people. Now when you're ready, let's go ahead. We're going to walk our feet up towards the top of the mat. Inhale, flatten your back. Exhale, round forward. Inhale, lift up, arms up, and exhale, arms at your heart. With that, we're actually trying to make our way into what's called a sun salute. Sun salutes are one of the most common yoga sequences you will do. If you're ever in any other style of yoga, doesn't matter where you're at, doesn't matter what studio you are in, you're probably going to do this particular sequence. So try to learn it if you can. We'll do it a couple of times, maybe like 3, 4, maybe 5 times to see how it goes. When you're up here, shake it off, right? Just let it all out. And when you're ready, you're gonna inhale, arms up. Exhale, lower down, hands to the top of the mat if you can get there. Inhale, flatten your back. Exhale, high push up and lower your chest down to the floor. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, down dog. You'll stay in your down dog for a moment, right? This is meant to be a resting position. So when it stops becoming one, just come to hands and knees. It's totally fine. But walk your dog while you're here. You're going to be here for a few breaths anyway. When you're ready, we're making this a little challenging. You can either step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, flatten back. Exhale, round forward. Inhale, lift up, arms up. And exhale, arms at your heart center. And there's one of those. We're doing a few more, right, just so we can get the familiarity of the sequence. We'll probably be doing this a few more times, not just today, but in the rest of the series. So when you're ready, inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend forward. Hands to the top of the mat if you can get there. Inhale, flatten your back halfway. Exhale, high push up. Lower down, chest to floor. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, down dog. Once again, stay in your down dog for a moment. Something I want to emphasize to you, don't worry about getting your chest as low to the ground as possible. A lot of times when you try to get that chest down, you end up just straining your shoulders. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more. This yoga practice, has a lot of anatomy involved with it. And we want to make sure that we can protect our joints, but at the same time, give us a challenging practice. When you're ready, on your next inhale, step or jump, top of the mat, flatten back. Exhale, round forward. Inhale, lift up, arms up. And exhale, heart center, very good. There's 2, let's do 2 more of these. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend forward. Hands to the top of the mat if you can get there. Inhale, flatten your back halfway. Exhale, high push up. Lower down, chest to floor. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, down dog. Once again, hanging out in a down dog for a moment, just a brief moment here. When you're ready, on your next inhale, step or jump. Top of the mat, flatten your back. Exhale, round forward. Inhale, lift up, arms up. And exhale, arms. Heart center, very good. Let's do 1 more. When you're ready, inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend forward. Hands at the top of the mat if you can get there. Inhale, flatten your back halfway. Exhale, high push up. Lower your chest down to the floor. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, down dog. Stay in your down dog, again, for a moment here. When you're ready, on your next inhale, step or jump. Top of the mat, flatten your back. Exhale, round forward. Inhale, lift up, arms up. Exhale, heart center, very good. And why don't you go ahead and spread your feet a little bit past your shoulder width here. Trying to line up with your mat if you got one going horizontal here, right? We're going to do what's called the moon salutes next. The moon salutes are for the side body. It complements the sun salutes. Sun salutes goes forward and back most of the time. Moon salutes side to side, so it'll help loosen up your obliques a little bit. So when you're ready, nice good stance here. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to the left for half moon. Inhale to your center. Exhale to the right, half moon. Inhale to center. Exhale, you're gonna bend your knees, goddess pose. Inhale, arms up. And then exhale over your left side. Grab your left ankle, both hands. Inhale, flatten your back halfway. Exhale, round forward. You're gonna inhale your right arm up for a triangle. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale up, back to center. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, arms up, straighten the legs. Exhale, over the right leg. Grab your right ankle, both hands. Inhale, flatten back halfway. Exhale, round back forward. Inhale your left arm for the triangle now. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift up, arms up, and exhale. Heart center, very good. There's one of those. Let's do a couple more, right? We want to get the rhythm of these sequences down. That's why we got to do them a couple of times. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, left, half moon. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale, bend the knees, goddess pose. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, over the left leg. Grab your left ankle, both hands. Inhale, flatten back halfway. Exhale, round forward. Inhale your right arm for a triangle. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift up, arms up. Exhale, goddess again. Inhale, arms up, straighten the legs. And then exhale over the right leg. Grab your right ankle, both hands. Inhale, flatten back halfway. Exhale, round forward. Inhale the left arm for a triangle. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift up, arms up. Exhale, arms and heart center, very good. Let's just do one more with these and we'll flow right into another sequence. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, left, half moon. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the right, half moon. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bend the knees, goddess pose. Inhale, arms up, straighten the legs. And exhale over your left leg. Grab your left ankle, both hands. Inhale, flatten your back halfway. Exhale, round forward. Inhale the right arm for your triangle. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift up, arms up. Exhale, goddess, just one more time. Inhale, arms up. And exhale over your right leg. Grab your right ankle, both hands. Inhale, flatten your back. Exhale, round forward. Inhale the left arm for a triangle. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift up, arms up. Exhale, flow right on down through straight to the ground. And I want you to kind of walk your fingertips over to the left foot. Stretch the back of your left leg a little bit. And you're going to walk those fingertips over towards the right foot. Stretch the back of the right leg. This is your hamstring, by the way, in case you're curious to know that. For some people, I don't know why they get this confused, hamstring with quad. Quad is the front of the leg. Hamstring, back of the leg. Same deal, walk over again, fingertips. It's going to move a little bit faster with this one too. When you're ready, you're going to inhale, lift up, exhale, arms at heart center. We're going to flow into what's called the golden seed sequence. Great one for the legs, some twisting going on here. We're going to start to get our core, stomach muscles involved here as well. When you're ready, you're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms out to the sides. You're going to bend the knees. And then inhale, hands down to the mat. Exhale your right arm up for a twist. Inhale, bring it back down. Exhale the left arm for the twist. Inhale, bring it back down. And all in one motion, lift up. Arms up above the head. Exhale, arms behind you. Full forward, drinking bird. Inhale, swing the arms up, bend the knees. Rocking horse pose. Exhale, back to drinking bird. And then inhale, lift up, arms up. And exhale, heart center, very good. Just one of those. You're going to do a few more. It's a pretty fast one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms out to sides, bend the knees. Inhale, you're going to lift up and lower down. Exhale the right arm for the twist. Inhale back to your center. Exhale the left arm for the twist. Inhale back center and lift up, all in one motion, arms above the head. Exhale, arms behind you, full forward, drinking bird. Inhale, swing up, bend the knees, rocking horse. Exhale, drinking bird. Inhale, lift up, arms up. Exhale, arms at heart. Center, very good. We're gonna do one more of these. When you're ready, inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms outside to bend the knees. You're gonna inhale, bring the hands together, and lower down. Exhale the right arm for your twist. Inhale back to center. Exhale the left arm for the twist. Inhale back center and lift up, all in one motion, arms above the head. Exhale, arms behind you, full forward, drinking bird. Inhale, swing the arms up, bend the knees, rocking horse. Exhale, drinking bird. Inhale, lift up, arms up, and exhale, hands at the heart. And with this, we're gonna flow right into one more sequence. This is gonna be a tough one. Probably be the last of our strengthening sequences today. This one's called the Flying Dragon. A lot of movement here, a lot of upper body, a lot of core, a lot of legs. Some good balancing into this one as well. So what I want you to do, once again, just come up towards the top of your mat. It doesn't matter really which side to start with. We're all gonna work on it the same way. I want you to hug your knees. Imagine you're just a little baby dragon right now, right? You're in your egg, hanging out here. It's actually really just a squat pose, but if you wanna, right, imagine, right, that's fine. But with your dragon, you're gonna lift yourself up, right leg up in the air, arms out in front of you or to the sides. You are a flying dragon. Now, right, flap those wings. You wanna make it really challenging, try banking left, and then bank right, soaring into it. But you're gonna lower down, find a safe place to land. Right foot behind you, left foot in front. You're gonna do what's called 3 dragon push-ups. 1, 2, 3. Then you're gonna inhale your left arm up for a dragon twist. And then we're gonna windmill it. Exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. And then you're gonna inhale, swing yourself up, exhale, squeeze shoulder blades together, bend the knees, dragon spreads its wings, what this one's called. Inhale up, exhale, squeeze like you're pulling down those weights. Inhale up, exhale, squeeze. But we're gonna switch sides here. When you're ready, lower your hands back down, top of the mat. You're gonna lift your left leg up in the air. Point that toe. Then you're gonna place your left foot down next to your right and step your right foot up to the top of the mat. Now we are on the mirror side for 3 push-ups. When you're ready, 1, 2, 3. Inhale your right arm up for dragon twist. And exhale down for the windmill. Inhale up, exhale down. A few times. But on your next inhale, lift up, arms up above the head. Exhale, squeeze shoulder blades together. Dragon spreads its wings. Here comes a lot of upper body. So if your shoulders aren't quite having it, that's fine. You could always skip this one. But if you want to try it out, belly of the dragon is coming up next. You're going to place your hands down, top of the mat. Lift your right leg up into the air. Now I'm going to show you from a few angles, one from here and one from the other side. You're going to take the right leg under and across. See how it's coming under? You're going to lift your left arm up, right arm down. And I'll show you from the other side too. Maybe that'll be easier. So you got the right leg up, right leg coming under and across the left. Place both feet down, right arm down, left arm up, belly of the dragon, right? And do your best to hold this. A lot of body again for that shoulder. And when you're ready, you're going to lower that left hand back down, right leg up in the air. You're going to step the right foot up to the top of the mat. Try to land. Just your right foot if you can. Arms out to the sides. Flap those wings. because you are halfway through this sequence. You're working on your balance here. Banking left, banking right. When you're ready, lower down. Left foot at the back of the mat, right foot in front now, dragon push-ups. You can do them on your fingertips if you want to. You want to make it challenging, they call it dragon claws. You do your push-up. 1, 2, 3. And then we do our dragon twist. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale down on the windmill a few times. And when you're ready, you're going to inhale, swing yourself up. Exhale, squeeze shoulder blades together. Dragon spread swings. When you're ready, both hands down. Lift the right leg up in the air, point the toe. You're going to place your right foot down next to your left. Step your left foot up to the top of the mat. Now we're doing 3 dragon push-ups, again on the mirror side. Could be on your fingertips if you want it. 1, 2, 3. Inhale your left arm for a dragon twist. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale up, exhale down. When you're ready, inhale, swing your shoulder blades up. Exhale, dragon spread swings. Here comes the upper body, right? So if you want to skip it, it's fine. But if you try it on the other side, definitely want to try it here. When you're ready, both hands down, left leg up into the air. I'll show you from both angles. So you're going to have the left leg come under and across the right. Both feet down, right arm up, left arm down, belly of dragon, right? Let me flip over so you can see it this way too. Left leg up, under and across the right, both feet down, left arm down, right arm up, belly of the dragon. It's one of the most confusing poses to teach, that's why I usually show both angles. When you're ready, lower that hand back down, left leg up, point the toe, place your left foot down next to your right, and walk your feet up to the top of the mat, back into your baby dragon. And there was one of those. Maybe the next time we do this, we'll attempt 2 of those. It is one of the toughest yoga sequences that you can do. That's why I like to teach it. Right? Give yourself something to challenge yourself with. But when you're ready, go ahead, lower down, take a seat, and I want you to lay on your back. Again, hugging your knees, rocking up and down, right, side to side here. You can go ahead and close your eyes now too. We are done with the strengthening portion of our practice. Right? That's pretty challenging in itself. Now we're going to do a couple of light stretches. We'll do a handful of these, and like I mentioned, I wanted to spend a couple of minutes, 5-10 minutes, on a meditation practice. But before we meditate, right, it's important for us to stretch. In the history of yoga, the original form of it was not what we just did with our sequences. Actually, that's a fairly recent creation of yoga with the linking of breath and movement. I mean, breath has always been a part of it. But the original form of yoga was believed to be what we're about to do. Just gentle stretches to prepare the hips and spine for meditation. Yogis would spend hours meditating. And people always ask me this question, what is the hardest yoga pose that you can possibly do? And they think I'm joking when I say seated meditation. I'm not joking at all. You know, try sitting quietly, upright for 20-30 minutes without your back or your hips hurting you, right? It can be really difficult. So if we prepare our hips and spine by stretching, it will make it much more bearable for the physical body, and then we can focus on the emotional body. So we'll do a couple of stretches. You can come up to a seated position. We're going to do what's called butterfly pose to start it out. You got the soles of the feet together. I want you to fall, and I want you to round into this as best you can. When you're doing a butterfly pose, or any of these stretches, I should say, allow your muscles to soften. If you're noticing that your muscles are flexing, they're tightening, they're squeezing, you're going way too far. Right? And I understand why people do this, especially younger people when they do this practice. They think to themselves, well, it's a stretching practice. Stretch as far as possible. That is the exact opposite of what your yoga teacher wants you to do. They want you to find a nice moderate stretch. And that's why I will shout out what I call the scale of stretching. Between 1 and 10, if 10 is your deepest stretch, try to target around 6 and 7, because you're less likely to overstretch there and more likely to relax. So yeah, if you can't get your head to the feet, don't worry about it. Right? It is not the point. Go ahead and take a few deep breaths, and when you're ready, there's your time. Just use your hands. Really slowly push yourself up. I want you to either lean back or lay down. But just take your time, wherever you are. While you're here, just do your best to really observe what you just did. When we're in between a pose, we call it the rebound effect, where you can sense all those areas you just stretched, right? Just observe whatever sensation it is, right? Let's try not to put words to it. Just observe the feeling of it. When you're ready, you can come back to a comfortable seated position. We're going to stretch our hamstrings next. We talked about this earlier. It's the back of your legs. But when you're doing forward bends, you're also going to be stretching out your back. Right? So those two areas are going to be worked together. We're going to be doing what's called the caterpillar pose. You have both legs extended out in front of you. You're going to fall round in this pose as best you can. If you can't touch your toes, don't worry about it, because it's not the point. The point of this is to feel the back of the legs and your back stretch, right? So if you can't get this, don't worry about it. Maybe just grab on your shins or your ankles. You're pretty close, just not quite there. But again, if you can grab your toes, it's fine. Just remind yourself it's not a toe-touching competition. Something you can always do here, if you're really, really tight, if this is a real struggle for you to round forward, you can let your knees bend. This is where I often will use a block, or at least teach people to use a block here. You put it under your knees, and you bend forward, right? When the knees are bent, you can round your spine more forward into it. And that means you'll be able to get deeper into it. More so for your back. If you're tight in hamstrings, you're probably still going to feel plenty of this anyway, so you might as well just do it. But hey, if you're pretty bendy, you've been doing yoga for a while, you're just a flexible person, you're probably not going to have to bend your knees. You know, I would say most teenagers probably are not going to have to bend their knees, because usually around that age, I mean, you're pretty flexible just innately, right? You don't really have to practice that. I mean, some people do, like gymnasts, right? They're very bendy, but they've practiced for that. But not only is it about practicing your flexibility, for some people, gymnasts especially, they have a certain bone structure that allows them to do certain things. Everybody has a different skeletal structure, right? We're not all shaped the same. So this is why some people can do poses that others can't, right? It's not just because of flexibility. That is part of it, but the bigger part is the bones, right? And how you can tell if you're inflexible versus if it's your bones that are stopping you is what you're feeling in the pose. And this is an easy one to really work through. If you're tight here, you're gonna feel what's called tension, which is a stretch, right? You can take your hand and just wave to everything you're stretching, saying, yeah, the whole back of my body, back of the legs. This is stretching. that is the sign of inflexibility, and it is something you can work through. At some point though, again, it takes a long time, like years to really get there, but you'll work through all of that tightness, and then you'll reach what we call compression, where two parts of your body or bones run into each other. In this case, it's very easy to see. Some people, not everybody, some people will be able to get their chest and their head down to their knees, right? You can't physically go past that because that's two parts of your body squishing into each other. Others will never get there. They'll, at some point, bend forward and no longer feel the back of their legs and back stretch, but not be able to get their chest and their head down to their knees. They'll say what they feel is bone on bone pain. They'll say, I feel like it's squeezing, it's like pinching right here in my actual joint. And that's exactly what's happening. In this pose, just to give you a little bit of the anatomy, your femur, your big leg bone, is hitting your pelvis, right into the hip socket. So when those bones make contact, there's nothing left to stretch through. And that's the limitation of the body, right? That's not a flexibility thing, that is just the skeleton. And I'll talk more about this too as we go on, because I think it's really important to educate yourself on. I wish I had this knowledge when I was younger. That the reason why I can't do backflips is not because I'm inflexible, it's because my back won't bend so far. And I'll talk about that too. When you are ready, and no rush, don't worry, use your hands, slowly push out, lean back, lay down, and take your time on that. Just observe it, right? Feel all that stretch. Whatever sensations you're experiencing, right? That is a real thing, right? It's not an illusion in your mind. You are feeling the changes of a stretch. We're going to stretch what's called the IT bands next. IT band stands for iliotibial band. It runs on the outside of the leg. They call it iliotibial band because it runs from your ilium, your big hip bone, to the tibia, which is the big leg bone, right here. So again, all on the outside of your leg. If you happen to feel knee or hip pain, listen up to the modifications that I give you, because there's going to be a bunch of different ways to do this one pose. I'm actually going to show you from a few different angles here, just so you can get a better visual on it. But it's called the swan pose. If you've done yoga before, you've probably heard it called pigeon pose. They're the same thing, it's just in a different style. They have different names. Maybe I'll mention that here too. But with a pigeon pose or a swan pose, you have one leg in front, you have one leg behind. A lot of ways to adjust this. But some people, when they do it, they're going to want their front leg shin to be parallel with the top of their mat, right? Imagine I have a mat going this way. It would be parallel to top. You don't have to do that though. Some people are going to prefer to bend their knee and bring their foot in close to your groin. Whatever happens, just make sure your knee and your hip are fine with it. If you feel hip or knee pain, any of these, you're going to want to play around with this. This is usually the one that's going to save you. But then you lean forward, right? Start with your hands, elbows. If you have a block, you can always use this too, right? Head on the block sometimes is nice. But again, if you're pretty bendy, you could just lay your head all the way down onto the floor. But again, see, outside of my front leg getting this. I'll show you here from a straight on view too. I think sometimes it's easier to see that, right? Outside of this front leg here. Broad stretches, right? We want to feel tension, right? We always want to feel tension when we're doing our stretches like this. Well, I should say like 90% of the time, you want to feel tension. There's a few poses where it's not, and it's actually compression that you want to feel, but right now, we want to feel the stretch, right? And breathe into it. Some deep inhales, deep exhales. Let your muscles soften. That right there is the physical sign that you are relaxing. So when people tell you to relax, that's what they actually mean. They want you to let your muscles soften. And sometimes it's easier said than done. I find the easiest way to force my muscles to soften is by voluntarily squeezing them, really flex it, give it a nice squeeze here, and then relax it. And all of a sudden, it's relaxed. Now you can sense, okay, this is what it feels like to flex them, for them to tighten. This is what it feels like for them to relax, right? Coming back to those opposites. And that's something that exists in all forms of yoga, those opposites. But one of the reasons why I really enjoy teaching Taoist yoga is because that philosophy is just right in your face for every practice you do. It's going to reflect and revolve around the opposites. But not that they're opposite from each other, but that they work together, right? One could not exist without the other. If you are ready, there's your time. Real slow. I want you to kind of roll out of this pose. You can lay on your side, lay on your back, lay on your stomach, whatever you need. Just take a moment for yourself, right? Feel the difference between the two sides. We've only stretched the one. So I'm sure it feels different. Right now I can feel all my right leg with all those sensations. My left leg kind of feels stagnant a little bit. So just observe that. When you're ready, you can do the other side. Whatever side you're on, just make sure it is the other one. I did suggest swan pose, right? We also call it a pigeon. It just depends on the style of yoga you're doing. So you got one leg in front, right? It is the outside of your front leg. Getting the stretch here. My left leg is in front now, so it's the outside of my left leg. I'm going to lean forward. You play around with the position of the leg. Do you have your shin parallel with the top of your mat, or are you bending your knee to bring your foot in close to your groin? Whatever protects your hip and knee, that's what you need to be doing. Again, I can't tell by looking at you. Even if you were in this practice with me, I would never be able to tell what you're feeling. I always rely on you to tell me what you're experiencing. And that's when I'll ask this one simple question: where do you feel it? And if you say, well, I feel it here in my knee, I feel it here in my hip, I'll say, okay, well, let's rethink this game plan. But if you say, no, I feel this, and you just kind of wave, I want you to wave, I'll say, yeah, fine. Don't worry about what you look like. We're not here to perfect the look of a pose. We're here to feel it, right? Functionally. This is something I emphasize in every single practice I teach, this functional perspective. And that means when I do the pose, what should I feel? What's the intention of it? Why am I even doing this? What should I be feeling? And I think you should try to think about that in every practice you do, not just in a yoga practice. In any form of exercise, think about it. When I do this exercise, what am I supposed to be doing? What should I be feeling here? I think you'll get more out of your practice if that's your mindset. Because reminding ourselves that we're not all shaped the same. We all have different skeletons, right? Everybody's bones are different. So we're not going to look the same in our poses. We're not going to look the same in any form of exercise. But if we all focus on, okay, I'm feeling what I need to feel, right? That's how you get more out of it. That's how you turn your senses within. When you're ready, there's time. Just real slow, make your way on out. Roll out, lay on your side, lay on your back, lay on your stomach, whatever you need to do. Just take a moment here. Sometimes you want to do nothing. Just resist the urge to move. Other times you feel like you got to move a little bit, like bringing your knees back up to your chest. It's always okay. Whatever you want to do in between poses is up to you. We have two more stretches that we have to do now. We're going to combine stretching our quads and doing a twist. So we're going to be doing a little bit of both. After that, when we do it to each side, we'll do a back bend, and then we'll end our practice in our meditation. But this next pose is called cattail pose, and I'm going to show you from both sides here, just so you can get a visual on it, because sometimes, again, this is one of those more confusing poses to conceptualize, especially when you're just looking at me from one angle. But we're going to do what's called a reclining twist to start it out. You're going to lay on your back. You're going to bring your knees up to your chest. Let's go to the left. It's going to be easier for me to explain it. You're going to lay on your back, take your legs to the left, slam on the floor. This is going to be the pose for now. And what you're going to feel is the right side of your body, right? Your obliques getting the stretch here. That's the intention of a twist, to stretch the side of the body. But we're adding another element, stretching our quad, which is the upper thigh. We had discussed this earlier. So what I want you to do, I want you to take your right hand and grab your left foot. And you're going to pull this leg back. So not only are you stretching your side body, you're also stretching your left leg's quad. And let me show you just from the other side too here, so you can see how exactly I've grabbed it. Right? So I'm doing my twist to the left. I got my right hand grabbing my left foot, and I'm pulling it back. Right? So I'm getting both the side body, getting the bottom leg's quad. I am not grabbing the top leg. In fact, let me come back from this other angle. The top leg is meant to be a lever in the pose. You see how this top leg comes over? It's turning and rotating your pelvis deeper into it, and that increases the stretch for you. And actually, if I can share a yoga secret with you, tilting your pelvis is the key to changing all of your poses. And that's not something that I can really teach you how to do. I can just mention, like, turn your hips this way, turn them this way. But it's up to you to feel it, right? But just so we know, tilting your pelvis is going to change the experience of every single pose you do. There's a couple ways to do it. It's either tilted forward, tilted back, tilted to the sides. You can even do it diagonally, right? And that goes all ways. So just keep that in mind, right? There's lots and lots of different ways to do it. And this is why I don't teach people how to perfect the look of a pose. Because if we're only practicing it one way, there's a million different ways that we're not doing it. And therefore, we could miss the best stretch possible. When you're ready, though, let that leg go. Slowly unwind from your twist. Take your time out and lay down. Knees up to chest. We have to do the other side, all right? And if you're on the same page as me, you're now twisting to the right. So you're laying on your back, knees up to the chest, legs over to the right, slam on the floor, right? Here's your pose for now. It's to stretch the left side of your body, right? Your obliques on the left side. Now you're going to also stretch your quad. You're going to take your left hand and grab your right foot. And you're going to pull this leg back. So once again, you're getting both. You're getting your side body, you're getting your quad. Your top leg, like we mentioned, is a lever. Now, it will turn your pelvis deeper into it, and that's going to increase your stretch. So just modify it however you need to, right? Don't fixate on the idea of, I need to look a certain way. You will never do it the same way as the person next to you if you're doing this with a partner, or if you're doing this in a group class. You're never going to look like the person next to you. You're never going to look like the instructor. And actually, just a quick fact for you, the two sides of your own body won't do it the same way either. And it's not just because of flexibility. It's because of asymmetry in your bones. And that means you're not shaped the same on both sides with your bones. So if you recognize, I'm not going to do this like on the two sides the same way, you'll never come in with this expectation of, I need to look like this, which is one of the biggest issues that most yoga instructors and most yoga students have. They have this idea of, I need to look this way. And I'm telling you, it's not just students, teachers do this too, but it's just because this ignorance of anatomy and thinking everybody has to do it the same way because this is the perfect way to do it. But there's infinite amounts of ways to do these poses if we allow ourselves the opportunities to modify it. When you're ready, those times, real slow. Let that leg out. Unwind from your twist. Knees up to chest for just a moment. But you can land down whenever you need to. We have one more pose left, and then we're going to do our meditation. We have to do a back bend. I mentioned some poses are going to involve a little bit of compression. This is going to be one of those poses. It's called the Sphinx pose. Sphinx like a cat. If you have a cat, they all do this. Even your dog does this too. You lay on your stomach, you prop up onto your forearms. This is it. This is the pose. But when you're in this pose, make sure you feel dull, gentle pressure right there in the lower back. That's all it should be, dull and gentle pressure. Anything sharp, you come down from it, right? Sharp is never ever therapeutic for you in any pose, in any setting. So if you're feeling sharp pain, bail out from it, right? Please do not hurt your back doing this. So this is one way to do it. But there are other ways to modify this, and especially for those who have really deep back bends. Like I mentioned, gymnasts typically will have this particular bone structure. They can do really deep back bends. I, however, do not have this. This modification, it's actually just a different pose. They call it the seal pose. They call it upward dog, like we did earlier if you're doing another style of yoga. But you extend your arms out in front of you. I'm doing this in a very modified way. I have my hands very far out in front of me. And the reason being, I don't have a deep back bend. But if I bring my hands in closer to my hips, watch what happens to my hips. You see how they start picking up now? It's because my back has reached the full range of motion. My vertebrae here, they're all squeezing into each other. And because of that, my hips have to come along for the ride. So to find out your full range of motion, you can push up here, but then walk your hands out in front of you and find out where your hips touch the floor. For me, it's right here. Right? This is my full range. But not everybody will be able to, to get to where I'm at. Some people will be less, some people will be more. A lot of people usually are actually more than me. But it's not something you can work for. Having a deep back bend, it depends on how you developed as a kid, really. The first few years of your life especially, this is where you developed your lower back. So some people, again, will never be contortionists, right? I'll never be able to work for Cirque du Soleil because I don't have a deep back bend, right? I physically cannot do those poses. But it's not because I'm inflexible. I've been doing yoga for about 10 years, right? My back bend has never changed. Since day one of doing my yoga practice, this has not changed. And if it was gonna change, it would have happened by now, right? Again, not a flexibility thing. It's a bone thing. And if it wasn't, right, I would know that because I would be stretching the front of my body. I wouldn't be feeling pain right here in the back, the dull pressure. A lot of anatomy in this, right? I hope it's not too overwhelming, but I think the more we know, the easier it is to understand what our bodies need. Now, I don't expect you to learn all of this after just one practice. Honestly, again, like I mentioned, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I still learn new things all the time. So, let that be a lesson for yourself. Just learn like one new thing today. That should be your goal for every day of your life. Just learn one new thing. But when you're ready, lower down. You can lay in stomach. Take a short breather, but I would say at some point it's going to feel really nice to do a gentle forward bend. Often I find myself coming into a child's pose. In case you're curious to see what it is, it's the pose. a comfortable seated position. We're done with the yoga practice, but we're ready to do a couple of meditation techniques. I want you to do a technique where you feel energy moving with your breath. And it's real simple, but let's start it off by closing the eyes. First, let's just pay attention to the breath, right? Breathing low in your belly again, low in your diaphragm. I want you to turn your senses, your awareness within, really going inside of yourself. When you take an inhale, feel the energy that comes with the breath rise up your spine. A lot of times you can even feel it reach towards the top of the head. On the exhale, you're going to feel that energy come down to the tip of the tailbone. So again, inhale, energy will rise up. Exhale, energy will fall down. And I want you to just lift and lower this for the next few minutes, right? I just want you to sense all that inner movement, that deeper energy that always takes place, but something we're not aware of until we're conscious of it, until we practice it ourselves. No formal ending to our practice. You can stay in your meditation as long as you'd like, but that is officially all that I have for you. I want to thank you all for watching, sharing your practice with me. It has been my pleasure. Namaste.